Hey folks, SoloGamer here, and we're going to be starting a new game series on Level 7 Omega Protocol. Now I know what you're thinking. Hey Chris, you played Level 7 Escape and it wasn't that good. Well, okay, let's take a step back and have a look at a couple things. You're correct in saying that I personally did not think Level Escape was a great game. I thought it was mediocre at best, at worst a bad game. So the fact that I was going to buy anything else from Private Tier Press or their Level 7 type stuff, I would say the chances were pretty slim that was going to happen. But I've always, well, let me go back again. Some time ago back, I was at my local game shop and a couple of guys busted out the Doom board game that the store had a copy of and started playing it, and I started playing it with them. Now I've always loved Doom video game, been a big fan of Doom. So when I played that Doom board game, I thought, man, this game was pretty damn good, and it was pretty good. Unfortunately, you can't buy a copy these days, or if you find one on the internet or eBay, you're paying an arm and a leg for it because it's out of print, and the game is basically a dead game. It doesn't look like they're going to make any more stuff for it. So I'm not spending $200 something or plus to get the Doom board game and the expansion. So I ended up getting Gears of War, and Gears of War is a good game, don't get me wrong, but it's not quite what I wanted it to be. Well then, Level 7 Omega Protocol came out, and a lot of people were talking about it, saying it was a totally different game. It was a really good game. It replaces Doom. It's a really good war tactical miniatures game with a cool sci-fi horror feel to it. Now I love that kind of stuff, and so I looked in it more and more, and I saw that it was just getting positive reviews, so I got it. Now let me say that Level 7 Omega Protocol is and is not a sequel to Level 7 Escape. It takes place in the same universe as Level 7 Escape. As a matter of fact, this takes place after the events in Level 7 Escape. In that game, you were prisoners trying to get out of that Level 7 prison. In this game, you're a bunch of Space Marines or Marines going in to clear the prison out and get control back of it. That's it. That's the only way they're related. The gameplay is totally different. Everything about it's totally different. Level 7 Escape could be a single player game, whereas Level 7 Omega Protocol is kind of like the Descent version of it. You have an overseer who plays the bad guy, and you have other players who play the heroes, the good guys. So that is very different than Level 7 Escape. The rules, the way it plays, everything is different, and you'll see what I'm talking about when I show you how it plays and everything like that. But for those people who got burned by Level 7 Escape, I think this right here was the game you were actually looking for when you bought that game. This game right here is a very good game. Only one thing, it doesn't play solo. Well, I play it solo. You can find ways to play it solo, which I'll show you how I do it, but it's not meant to be played solo. So if you're a solo gamer, you're going to have to tweak this game to play it solo, and I can maybe help out with that. But this game, don't expect don't expect a Level 7 Escape clone or like try to improve on it. This is totally different, and everything has just been improved, even from the components up. So let me get the game set up, let's have a look at it, and I'll show you how you play the game and how I tweak it to fit my solo rules. Okay, so as you can see, I have this map here set up. Now, this game plays by scenarios, and I think 7 or 8 scenarios come in the rule book. And so the scenario tells you how to set the map up. So this game has a bunch of tiles, and you can already tell that the tiles in this game are a hell of a lot better than they were in Level 7 Escape. Okay? It tells you how to set up the tiles. Okay? It tells you how to set up the map. Then it tells the overseer what cards There's room cards. Each room is going to have a certain amount of room cards in them. And these room cards are very bad for our heroes. They can be traps, they can be monsters, they can be all kinds of events, but they can also be our objective. Whatever objective you have for this scenario could be one of the room cards. Now, the Overseer, and the scenario tells you what cards to pick and how many to put in each room. Now, the Overseer gets to choose where he wants to put what cards. So the Overseer knows where he wants the cards and puts them where they go. Now, in solo play, my solo play, I, as the Overseer, know what cards are used, but I shuffle the cards up and randomly place them on the map. So I know what cards are there, but I don't know which cards are where. Okay? So that keeps it a little bit element of surprise. Okay, and then you have these little markers right here, and these are search markers. And if your hero's adjacent to or on that space, they can spend an adrenaline point to search. And then if you go and you hit the investigate deck, and you can get whatever's in that deck. Also, the scenario has these doors. Okay, these are the doors. These are the back of them. Now, on the other side of this door, it's either going to say it's unlocked or locked or some kind of short circuit trap or something. The Overseer gets to is told what doors to put in, and he can put them anywhere he wants. But again, I randomly shuffled these doors, so again, like the room cards, I know what doors are here, I just don't know which ones are where. Okay, so that's basically how you set up the scenario. And then you have almost like a round tracker, and every scenario is going to have a crisis point. Like in round, our crisis point for this first scenario is going to be round 8. When round 8 gets here, and you have these little markers to tell you where you're at. So here's my starting marker. I put it on 1. Every turn I'm going to move it. When it gets to round 8, the crisis point is going to happen. And basically what that means is rules are going to change, and you're going to only have so much more time before the scenario ends if you're not victorious or successful. Okay, so let's take a look at our Overseer part some more as well. These are the monsters, and these are rogue clones, warrior clones, and these are rogue clones. And as you can already tell, this game comes with miniatures, which level 7 did not. The scenario tells you how many you have in a pool. I have 10 rogue clones in a pool and 8 warrior clones in a pool, and so as Overseer I can never have more than these. And I have their character cards. Okay, and basically what this thing tells me, how to play the rogue clones. So these rogue clones have a health of 1, and they have an adrenaline of 1. They have a speed of 6. They have a defense of 4 from firearm weapons and a defense of 4 from knife weapons. Okay, then it tells you like little things, bonuses. And then this thing attacks with its claws, so it can't shoot, it just has claws, and you roll 3 dice. As you can see, you have 2 kinds of dice. You have red dice and you have black dice. Okay, now the red dice are a little bit better, and as you can see, it's going to have a blank side, it's going to have a 1 splat there and 2 splats. Okay, so as you probably can tell from various other games, you roll the dice. I got 3 splats, so that's going to be like 3 hits. The black dice have more blank spaces on them. So if this guy were to attack somebody, he rolls 3 black dice. Alright, so he does 2 hits, and then the hero would be able to get a defense roll. Okay, but that's basically what these tell you. The warrior clone, speed of 6, a defense of 3 from ranged weapons, a defense of 3 from knife weapons. He has 2 different types of guns. He can use a coil gun or a seeker gun, and it has a range of 6, and he rolls 3 dice. Okay. This game plays with line of sight and stuff like that, so you can't, just shoot through walls or nothing like that. So I just want to mention that, and like I said, we'll get more into that as we play. All right, so the Overseer has a dashboard of certain powers he can use. And the adrenaline, the currency in this game is adrenaline tokens. And the Overseer starts off with so many adrenaline tokens, and he has, the scenario tells you which abilities you have. So you take each one of these and you know, like puzzle pieces, and you put them down here, and at any time the Overseer, when it's his turn, he can spend 4 adrenaline points. As you can see, our surprise attack here, it says 4 adrenaline points. It costs 4 adrenaline points to use this. Interrupt, make an attack with an enemy against an acting commando. Okay, so you can pay 4 adrenaline points. You put the 4 adrenaline points in here. There you go. You can do your surprise attack. You can do any, whenever you want, as long as you have the adrenaline points. This second number right here is a refresh. Every round you're going to refresh your dashboard, and you could take 2 out of there, and then another turn you would take the other 2 out of there, and boom, it's clear to go again. Okay, so that's how that works. Now I differ a little bit in my solo play. You get a whole stack of these different abilities, okay, and the scenario tells you which ones. And so what I do is I shuffle this stack of abilities randomly, and then I put them 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 on the board. Now I do limit the Overseer a little bit, and I know you're going to say, well, that's not fair. Boy, you've really limited the Overseer, but you'll see that the players get limited too. Okay, so I randomly put them down in the order in which I shuffled them, and so I came out with dodge first, charge second, cave in third. I cannot use any of these. I cannot use a charge ability until I use the dodge ability. So until I am able to use the dodge ability, I cannot use any of my abilities. Then after I'm used the dodge ability, I can use the charge ability. Then after the charge, I can use the cave-in, and so on. I have to be able to use them in order. If I get stuck for a while as an Overseer and can't use my cave-in because it costs 10 and I can't use it, then I'm going to kind of get stuck and screwed. But I've play tested it a little bit, and while that may happen every so often, usually it doesn't happen. Once you get going, you get going. I mean, as Overseer, you will be able to use all of these, okay? And so I just have to be able to use them in the order that they are. And I cannot move forward until I have used the one before it. So I can't use hasten until I use dodge, charge, or cave in. Okay, I can't use frenzy until I've used hasten. But then, you know, if I'm able to spend 4 tokens and use hasten, then I can move on and use another 6 to use frenzy, and so on. I can use as many as I need to in a turn, but I have to still do them in order, and I have to be able to have done the one before it. I know it seems kind of weird. You'll see how it goes though when we play. It's to make things more random and not try to be able to pick a side. That's the best way I can come up with, and it really doesn't hurt the game that bad. Now for the heroes. So you have 5 heroes, and you have a rifleman, a reconnaissance specialist, a heavy support specialist, countermeasure specialist, and a team leader. Okay, and they each have a starting weapon. As you can see, he has a starting weapon of an M18, and when he shoots, he has an 8 range, and he rolls 1 red and 3 black dice. And then, of course, there are their stats. He has a health of 5, like an intelligence of 2, like a strength of 3, and they all have their little thing. Okay. Now, they all get these little kit cards. Now, they have starting kit cards. Each character, as you can see, has a starting kit deck. Now, kit cards have a point value at the bottom in the left hand corner. This sentry drone kit card is 2. Each player can have 6 points worth of kit cards. So I randomly shuffle each player's kit cards, and I pick up until I get 6 points. May not be what I wanted, but you know, hey, you know, I got to do some randomizing with them to limit them because I've limited the Overseer. So they can have 6 points worth of kit cards, and I randomly determine what they are. And they can use these, you know, anytime. These things go with them. Okay? Then each hero has what it calls a stance card. Each hero has 3 stance cards, okay? And let's take a look. We'll take a look at this guy's here, okay? And he has a cautious advanced stance card, and this cautious advanced stance card lets him move 2. He has a defense of 4 and a defense of 3, and he has 6 adrenaline points. Okay, he can use 6 adrenaline points. That means he can basically do 6 actions, but some kit cards cost 2 actions to use. So as when he spends his 6 adrenaline, his turn is over. Okay, but then he has another stance card, double time, where his speed is doubled and his defenses have changed a little bit, and you can make 1 move this turn without increasing your adrenaline. But this one only has an adrenaline limit of 4, so once he spends his 4, he's done. And then he has a prone, which is like he's lying down and he can only move 1, but he's got a higher defense range, a lower defense there. You can add 2 dice to each attack made with your M18. Each soldier has a double time, cautious advance, and a prone stance card. Now, when you play the game, you're able to pick which card you want to do at the beginning of each of your turns. But again, since I'm playing solo, and to handicap the players like I've handicapped the Overseer, I have shuffled each one's stance cards and put them on their thing. So I don't know which stance I'm going to get, and then at the beginning of the first turn, I will turn over the first stance card, and they have to go with that stance. And then at the end of the next turn, they can choose the next stance card, and then the turn after that they can choose the last stance card, and then I shuffle them up again randomly and put them back on their thing, and we just continue that cycle over and over again. Like I said, since the Overseers got some handicaps, these guys have got some handicaps, okay? And so there's nothing more worse than when you're trying to haul ass out of a room and you end up with a prone where you can only move once freaking stance card. But maybe he tripped or who knows what he's thinking, but it's to make the game more balanced so the Overseer is not totally underpowered. Last but not least, there's a turn order in which they go. You see these number cards right here. You have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. At the beginning of each turn, the team leader is able to choose who goes first, who goes second, third, fourth, and fifth. And you put that on their card there. It lets you know. Now, again, to kind of handicap the players a little bit and make the balance more even, I let the team leader choose who goes first. Okay, so he can choose who goes first because after all, he is a leader. He does give commands, and it can be anyone. But then I randomly shuffle these, and then I start at the top and then deal them out. So I never know who's going to go what except for the first one every turn. And that also balances things out as well. Now, if a player has lost some life and they're down, their health is down, you get this down card, and that goes where your stance is. And it says you can perform only move actions. Med packs have no effect on you. You cannot use the abilities of your kit cards. You only have 2 adrenaline. Okay. You can only move 2 spaces, and that's your defense. Other characters can revive you and stuff like that, and if we get into that, we'll go over that. And then one last thing is that I think is also a little cool. And here are their miniatures, by the way. And their miniatures are pretty cool looking. They're not bad. And, they're a lot better than it was in level 7. This guy right here, he has a kit where he can get a sentry drone. Just think of the little thing in Doom 3 that walked around, a little robot, and this thing can go, and it has its own special rules, and we'll go over that when we play, but he has to be able to deploy it first, and it's going to cost him 2 adrenaline to deploy it. So that's the basic setup of level 7 Omega Protocol. When we come back, we're going to go ahead and start playing, and then I'll explain more of the rules as we go, okay? So SoloGamer saying, hey, see you then.